And obviously, because of my location, I don't have my Vibhuti and all. So let's get started. ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं मवामहे कविं कवीनाम् उपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पद आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामभित्र्यवतु महासरस्वत्यै नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुवे सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां हृदये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मिन् गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। देवीं वाचमजनयन्तदेवाः तां विश्वरूपा पशवो वदन्ति सा नो मन्द्रेषु मूर्जन्දුहाना धेनुर्वागस्मानुपतिष्ठितैतु व्यासं वधिष्ठरप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतादं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। शिवशक्तिसमारम्भां भास्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मश्रीनाथपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रीललिता महात्रिपुरसुन्दरी समेत श्रीचन्द्रमौलीश्वराय नमः। श्रीकाञ्चीकामकोटिपीठाधिपतिजगद्गुरु श्रीशङ्कराचार्य श्रीचरणयोः श्रीप्रणामाः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रीमात्रे नमः. So, continuing from the first class, I want to go a little bit more into the introduction, the structure, and take a few shlokas today and share the meaning of the shlokas. Again, as I told you in the first class, if we start getting into the meaning of each word or each shloka into a greater depth, it will take a long, long time. We may not be able to complete it even in 2 years. So I will just keep giving the meaning of the shlokas to fill your appetite, that you know the meaning. And those who complete the entire Vishnu Sahasranamam with meaning batch, at the end of this course, I will share a manuscript that will have more detailed explanation at the philosophical level, which you can utilize to further enhance your knowledge. So what we learnt in the first class is that Vishnu Sahasranamam is not merely a list of divine names. It is a compressed theology, and it is a very meditative map. In the sense, it will make you think. It will make you think and absorb what you're chanting. And it is also praise him, where we are praising Lord Vishnu through 1,000 different names. Ultimately, when you combine all of these things, it becomes a perfect text for a deep sadhana. So the hymn is not just an abstract philosophical environment, but it captures the moment of that moral exhaustion, a civilizational level of trauma, where the Pandavas, along with Lord Krishna, and of course Bhishma Pitamaha, see the civilizational trauma and the destruction. So there it brought a lot of questions in Yudhishthira's mind. So Bhishma Pitamaha gives the Sahasranama, 1,000 names, as a medicine for the human condition. That is what is essential. As I advise everybody, don't just read the PDF and say that I can read Vishnu Sahasranamam, Lalita Sahasranamam, or I can memorize it and chant it, but you don't even know any bit of why it was done, where it was done, what is the context, why it is so relevant to us even today. That is the key question. Why is it so relevant to us even today? I gave other anecdote in terms of how Mahapariva also had explained this. Once, when he had high fever, he actually asked his Sishyas, 100 of them, to just continuously chant Vishnu Sahasranamam for 2 days. Automatically, the fever came down. So, this he, as the Sakshat Avatara of Parameshwara, he actually delivered that message.
Guru, sorry to interrupt. Vaishnavi is not able to join, she says.
Who?
I did join using the link, not able to get in, she says. Vaishnavi.
She is here, she is.
She says, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vishnu.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is a medicine for a human condition, for healing, dealing with the grief. And when you are in a moment of grief as a human being, it brings up a lot of questions, fear, anxiety. This Sahasranamam is also an answer to those questions, addressing the fear. And it's just not an ornament of devotion or to say I am devoted to Lord Krishna. It's total surrender. So the names operate at multiple levels simultaneously. At one level, it depicts Lord as a creator, sustainer, indwelling self, protector of the dharma, because that's what this Mahabharata is all about. Destroyer of adharma. Okay, you are protecting dharma, but what else are you doing? You're destroying adharma, and through which it provides you a path of liberation or moksha. At another level, it serves as contemplative seeds of introspection. Each of the name is a doorway to one aspect of the Supreme: ontological, ethical, mere ritual, right? Psychological, or devotional. So you can chant Sahasranama for bhakti because you have that love and affection for your Bhagavan, but you also need to meditate upon for manas shuddhi, or use it as a daily discipline purely from a memory aspect, remembrance aspect, which is equally an important quality for us human beings. So the recitation is structured in a certain way. So when you receive the document, what you will see is there is a recitation of the shloka and the understanding, and it will be followed by a meaning. I've also created a simple index of each word with the meaning as a complete list of table. So for those of you who are purely interested in the individual words and the meaning, that also is available as a separate text, which I will share at the end of this class. So first, you can use it for daily chanting. Second, when you start studying with that document, each of the verse, read along with the meaning over and above what you learn through the class here. You can also become a teacher tomorrow. Then once you have acquired that knowledge, you can impart that knowledge to more people in a more structured way, because now you have a document which I'll be sharing that will be authentic enough for you to say, yes, this is what it is. So that is the purpose of the document. And in the document, for each of the shloka, the individual bhashya of different people. Bhashya means commentary. People who have translated or commentated upon the shlokas or sahasranamas, etc. So there are different people at different times that interpreted the same sahasranama into different ways. And those were as per the three primary schools of philosophies: Advaita, Visishtadvaita, and Dvaita. These are the three major schools where you can see the comparison, the subtle differences between the three, during three different eras. They are not at the same era. They were not at the same time. They came up at three different eras. So you can still see how people looked at it differently, but ultimately the objective is one, that you reduce the duality. There is no duality. It's not like me and God. Like these are not two human beings. We with two hands and legs, and somebody else sitting up in the cloud just two hands and legs. We are one. And what is required for us to realize that, that is why it is called realization, self realization. uh, Again, it's very difficult for me to contain myself to go sidewards and expand and lose focus. I'm trying to be as concise as possible. The word realization is different than experience, so that is where I will stop. So introspect, what I mean by that, you need to realize your inner self towards understanding what is the reality. And when you understand the reality, all your questions will be answered. That what you're seeing, it's all Maya. Otherwise, it's very difficult for somebody. So there are people who have commented upon, oh, is he not committing mass genocide? Like Lord Krishna, is he not, as God, committed mass genocide? It only speaks volumes about how that person has to learn the core principles of Sanatana Dharma. Because then you are now comparing yourself with your Lord, who is the creator of this cosmos, and say, okay, you and I are equal. What rules apply to me applies to you. So, according to my laws of or constitution that I have created in my planet Earth, with my materialistic outlook and understanding, I'm going to judge you by the same rules. So, you need to transcend those levels to be able to understand what Mahabharata is. That's why I also would suggest you, when somebody tries to categorize that as mythology, epic, all those titles, start ignoring that. Again, this is a political commentary that I've inserted here, but with full knowledge. There is a lot of terminology that have been introduced by many people between the time that Mahabharata happened and between our generation. The idea is to brainwash. Mythology means it's myth, never existed. I'll quote few people later who have systematically debunked those kind of arguments that this is a mythology. They have provided evidence, concrete evidence, which has not been challenged so far. So coming back, how do you read the Vishnu Sahasranama? You first read the opening invocation and dhyana slowly. Just like I start my class with dhyana shloka, the idea of which is that we may have come from different activities and different backgrounds and etc. We need to get that mind focused on what we are here for the next 1 hour. Forget everything else. The most difficult task to do. But you need to do that. Not only the mind, the mental state, also your physical state. You must have run through the stairs to say, oh, I'm running late for the class, so let me join quickly. You'll be gasping for breath. Your breath control will be difficult. Any of this mental or physical discomfort or challenge can put in a challenge for how you chant. It could impact your akshara shuddhi, it could impact your ability to roll your tongue and chant purely and freely. The dhyana shloka settles it down. That is one of the main purpose why we always start with dhyana shloka. It also helps you focus on what you are there for. Objective. You may be focused, but if there are 10 things that are there at the same time, should I chant with the meaning? Should I not chant with the meaning? Or while chanting, your brain is digressing. Oh, now this is the meaning. And then there are 10 questions. You should not allow all that to happen. Meaning is good when you're reading, when you're educating yourself. When you're chanting, you purely chant. And you need to be able to focus and chant everything in a structured fashion. So, the crux of the whole thing, as I said in the first class, is the questions asked by Yudhishthira, 6 questions, and Bhishma Pitama is answering those questions. So, what it does is it frames the spiritual problem which the Sahasranamam actually answers. So, what were those questions? Who is the highest refuge? What should be praised? By worshipping whom does one attain auspiciousness, and so on and so forth. Do you all remember the first part of the questions? Kimekam daivatam loke. That was the end of the class. I almost rushed it in for the USA people. After that, during the Sahasranama proper, pause after each verse and absorb the cluster of the names as a single thematic unit. Individual names, the cluster will form a thematic unit. The names are not randomly arranged. That was not blabbered by Bhishma. They were arranged in a particular sequence for a particular reason. And many verses together gather related attributes. So there are various attributes that are being described. So each of the names in the right sequence gather the related attributes. Then don't forget to read the Falashruti, because that is where the experiential psychology of sacred repetition comes. So it teaches what constant remembrance does to what? To fear. All of us have fear at various points of time. Fear of ABCD, high, fear of unknown. Those fear comes out of lack of knowledge or ignorance. So when you chant, you absorb with the meaning in a very slow fashion rather than rushing it in about 5 minutes or 10 minutes and say, I'm done. I'm chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam every day. That really doesn't bring you any benefit. So you chant it slowly, absorb the meaning, and that constant chanting, remembrance, it addresses your fear, it helps you in your conduct, it brings steadiness in your thinking, improves your memory, and thereby overall in your path to attain salvation. And again, every time I use the word attain salvation, many people have asked, Guruji, is it possible that I'll get moksha? Are you sure? Can I do it? I said, if you keep asking, you'll never get it. One simple answer to that is start. You start now. Even if you don't complete your effort to attain moksha in this janma, you will get the next janma, but you will have only little bit left to finish the task. So when you hear people say, oh, that person died very early, pavam, I say, don't say pavam. Be very happy. They don't need to suffer in this kind of world that we are suffering. They have finished their task, their balance sheet is squared, they have moved on to a better world than this. So sometimes you have to celebrate that early passing away. So you have to start, whether you want to do it in this janma or wait for one more janma and say, okay, hope that you're going to be born again as a human being. That's your choice. But I have made my choice, and I would advise all of you to do that as well. So use the concluding verses or the Sahasranama concluding verses as a devotional closure, because you started with the question, you got the answers. Those answers should provide you peace and happiness in saying, okay, I know why it happened. I know what happened. I know how it helps me in dealing with the grief and the question. So if you ever again come across in your daily life a similar situation, you are prepared. It could be a situation where, like, let's say one of your pet is admitted to the hospital, veterinary hospital. These days, even if your dog or cat is sick, they go through almost all of the expenses and medical attention that we human beings go. And we as human beings, very closely attached, we could even be grieving for their suffering. Even in those conditions, the learning that you gather from here will help you how to deal with that. Because what is true, whether you like it or not, is for every life there is a death. That is the first lesson that we have to learn. So the opening invocation establishes lineage, purity of intent, and scriptural solemnity. So by saluting Narayana, Nara, Saraswati, and Vyasa, the reciter enters a very transmitted sacred space rather than an individualistic act of reading. So again, I'll keep on harping on that, because I have seen many people, they have a checklist. Oh, my friend has completed 20 different things. They have learned everything. Just like the 108 Divya Deshams, it's like checklist. I've gone everywhere. Maybe you cannot go to 108, go to 10. Understand why you have to go, what you have to do, what is that in that particular Divya Desham is far, far more useful than putting a checklist and say, I can read or I can chant many things. Instead, you learn one, go to the depth, understand, then only you're going to get the benefit of it. So the text is basically heard as a revelation through lineage. And crux of it again is the Bhishma Yudhishthira Samvada, the question and answer. In the dhyana, there is another concept called nyasa. So in the dhyana section, it focuses and develops your conceptual understanding to direct devotional visualization. I don't know if you are familiar with how to use Google Meet. You can press that hand to say, yes, I understand what you're saying. But for some of the other people who are learning from me and other gurus on Devi Mahatmyam and other things, or Mantra Japam, I've done many courses or classes which are available on the channel, which talks about whenever you chant anything, you start with the Rishi Adi Nyasa, Rishi Adi. Then followed by, and there are three declaration statements. Through whom did we get to know this? The author. In modern day language, it is the author. No, author means doesn't mean somebody wrote it. Author means who is the person through whom we got to know it. What is the chandas? In what meter or combination of meter we are going to chant it? And who are we praying? The Devata. So declaration statement of who authored it, what is the meter, and what Devata. After that, we are supposed to do Kara Anganyasa. Kara means hand, Anga means body parts. I don't know whether I said this in this class. For everything in Sanatana Dharma, it's meant for the geek, the most elaborate level. And there are also solutions for fast food type of people. Tell me in 5 minutes, how can I attain moksha? So there are some solutions for them also. So upacharas, 128 upacharas you can do to a god. Or you can do just 5 upacharas, and that too imaginary. You don't even have to spend on incense stick or udupati or anything. Mentally, dhupam kalpayami, deepam kalpayami. You can do kalpayami and offer everything. That is how flexible and cheap or economic the rishis have made it for us. So same way, Karanganyasa, the 6 are the basic that you need to do, which is Angushtabhyam Nama, Tarjanibhyam Nama, Madhyamabhyam Nama, Anamikabhyam Nama, Kanishtikabhyam Nama, Karatala, Karaprushtabhyam Nama. Tala means front, Prushtam means back. So Karatala, Karaprushtabhyam Nama. Then Hridayaya Namaha, Shirase Swaha, Shikhayi Vashit, Kavachaya Hum, Netratrayaya Vaushit, Astraya Phat. And then you do Bhor Bhuvaswarom iti Digbandha. If I've gone too fast, please replay the YouTube video. You'll be able to take notes and follow it. Now you read the same Vishnu Sahasranamam with this understanding. It'll make a difference. Earlier you thought that is how it has to be chanted, that is where it starts, Vishnu Sahasranamam. Now you'll be able to appreciate the different sections, where the Namam starts and where it was all Dhyana Shlokam or Nyasa. So once that is done, you get into the main Sahasranama. So the main body differentiates or alternates between the cosmic names, moral names, and avatara names, philosophical names, ritual names, and intimate devotional names. So there are some names that will identify Vishnu with the universe. Some distinguish him from the universe as its Lord. Some names celebrate his relation to the devotees, us. Some reveal him as the inner self of all of us, all human beings. So far, so good. Then towards the end is the Phalashruti. Phalashruti, phalam means fruit. Fruit means not literal apple, orange. Illa. What benefit we are going to get. So don't read the Phalashruti superficially. Just because you say, okay, this is just about the benefit that I'm going to derive, you understand the meaning of what it is. It expresses the traditional insight that sustained Namasmarana. What does it do? It expresses the traditional insight that sustained Namasmarana transforms a character. Character means what? Not the English alphabet or English letter. Character, human character of who we are, what we are. That is one of the reason why you are learning it. You must have lived your life the way you have lived it, with advice, without advice, with parents, gurus, with somebody who has been mentoring you from childhood, birth, somebody mentoring you through every stage of life, every aspect of life. Some people may not have been blessed at all. They must have just grown through hardships all their life. But now, if you have taken the step to say, okay, I'm going to learn Sahasranama, that it is supposed to help you transform your character just by the mere repetitive chanting. Namasparana. It should calm your fears. It should align your speech, very clear diction and thought. I don't know how many of you agree. Speech can be clear, thought may be garbled. You will see a problem in the speech. The person may be very clearly able to articulate, but if this is garbled, this is going to be garbled. So, this coordination is very, very important. The mind has to be clear. Ability to chant clearly is important. Only then that coordination becomes a final output, which is something that we all want to hear. It protects a dharmic life in the sense what is right and what is wrong. Let me put it in English, though it is not the exact same meaning. What is right and what is wrong? What should I do? What should I not do? And I'm sure all of us face that question in almost every day of our life. Should I interfere in my child's future? Should I lecture my son who is already married? Should I take care of my husband? Should my husband take care of it? This question constantly keeps coming in different form and shape. And that question is all about the dharma. What are your duties? What are your responsibilities? And what is right and what is wrong? So here I'm going to insert again one more important aspect, because I don't want you to just keep listening to me and say, okay, this is what he said. I've taken notes. Now I've understood. In all my classes, right from the first time ever I started teaching, I focused more on what you cannot find in books. If you read a book, it will tell you do this, including your recipe, kitchen recipe. It will tell you do this, do this, do this. Tell me how many of you have succeeded by merely following it to the nth level? I don't think you'll succeed 100%. What you need to learn is what not to do, or what to do in situations that the book doesn't describe. That comes through experience, that comes through thinking, that comes through inner introspection. For that, you need to pause. Until you do it for years and years, it comes as natural capability. So here, not only the speech and thought process is aligned, it guides you in terms of how to lead a very dharmic life. And don't get into unnecessary, unwanted, irrelevant questions. Oh, anyway, we are in Kali Yuga. Scriptures have written that Kali Yuga will come to an end because Papam is on the rise, Adharma is on the rise, so Dharma is going to go down. So it's like, even if I don't vote, what happens? No, if your vote doesn't go, probably it will be a different person governing your country. So you don't worry about what the issue with your or value of your one vote is. You go and do it. Same way, you do your part of Dharma with whatever little knowledge. You let it be with mistakes, let it be with problems. That very intent brings you into the right path. And then you will see slowly you progress. It becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. And at the end of it, when you have properly followed a particular way of life, you can distinguish between the right and the wrong with clarity. There is no bias there. And again, I'm inserting certain political commentary because then it is easy to relate to. For some people, if their own son misbehaves with the daughter in law, it is okay, it is my son. But the same lady would have been literally would have gone through an abusive marriage and said, listen, as a lady, I'm suffering. Why doesn't the thought come through when it is another lady that is your daughter in law? It is that social fabric that we have created that creates all those biases. These chanting will help you come through with clarity how to deal with those things without a bias. Make sense? Yeah. And then it slowly reorients your thought process, the way you look at life, the way you look at why you're born as a human being, and how you ultimately end up in building a good society, not a hypocritical society, not a biased society, not a stressful society. So if each one of us do our bit in a very unbiased way, you're going to end up in a good society that you can be proud. So, what is the opening Shruti or the opening shlokas? Can all of you just say yes, so far so good? Because now I'm jumping into the shloka and the meaning.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the opening shloka is Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Narayanam Namaskityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Narayanam Namaskityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. I don't need to go again and explain one matra, two matra, hrasvam which is short, dirgham which is long or extended. So if you see na, ra, these are all dirgham, dirgha akshara. Ya, one akshara, one matra. I've also talked about in the first class about anuswara, visarga, avagraha. So if you have taken notes and if you have followed the class, it will be very easy for you to apply. And now, when I am chanting, you need to sync up with the meter. Are you supposed to chant Narayanam or the way I chanted? You have to start syncing to that meter, that speed, that layam, the shruti. Don't go by my voice, which is very gruff because of the travel and overnight stay. But otherwise, you know the shruti that you need to follow. So, what is the meaning of these two lines, this shloka? It's basically you're starting with salutations to the Supreme Self. You're saluting the Supreme Self and saying, having bowed to Narayana, you surrender and you bow your head, bow to Narayana, to Nara, the noblest among men, and then to Devi Saraswati, and to Vyasa. May victory be proclaimed. May victory be proclaimed. Those of you who are a little geeky, find the actual name of Veda Vyasa. It might be a trivia for you to know. Vyasa is not a name, Vyasa is a title. So far, so good? Okay. The next, this thing. Om Atha Sakala Saubhagyadayakam Shri Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram Sakala Saubhagya Dayakam Sri Vishnu. Ish soft, Nu hard. Sri Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram. Harihi Om. What it says is, we now begin the Sri Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram, the giver of complete auspiciousness. Sakala Saubhagya Dayakam. Complete auspiciousness. While we learn the meaning in English, I would also want to explain the limitation of this translation. English is somebody else's language, not our language. So, if I have to explain to you what is a nadi, I don't have any other word. I'll say nar. That's the closest I can get, but they are not one and the same. As long as you are getting close to the actual real meaning, you're good. But don't take it in the very literal sense, every word of English translation. So bear that limitation in mind. So first shloka, Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam. I am repeating the second time, so you can now chant with me without unmuting yourself, and you can practice it. Normally, I make people chant back and I correct, I stop, but there are about, I think, more than 12, 16 people. So if we start doing it, there will be a lot of noise. So you can chant along with me when I'm chanting the second and third time. That way, you'll get familiar with how to chant. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam. Endla வந்து ஹலந்த் இருக்கு. There is no vowel to it. So halant means Shu is Shambhosha. Baradharam. Ba Balaraman ba. Dha Dhanam Dhanyam. Dhanalakshmi. Shashivarnam. Chatur Bhujam. Anything that is a Mahaprana means the sound has to come from the Nabhi. There should be a gush of air that comes from your Nabhi. Prasannavadanam dhyayet sarva vighnopashantaye. Now, what is one matra, what is two matra? Again, depends on the layam. The same thing if I say, Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Ye is two matra in this layam. Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Ye two matra in this layam. The duration is different. So both are there. In the YouTube, you can rewind, replay, and sync up what is two matra in a different line, what is two matra in a higher tempo. So here, the meaning of this shloka is nothing but one should meditate on Lord Vishnu. How should you meditate? When we say dhyana shloka, what is dhyana shloka? We are visualizing the God that we are about to pray. That is what dhyana shloka is. So if you are doing a Panchadashi Japam, a dhyana shloka will be a description of Ambad. Whatever you chant, dhyana shloka, it is nothing but a description of Ambad. There is an alternative form of a picture. A PNG, JPEG picture is all modern day technology. In good old days, that was not there, right? Our Tata Party time, there was no PDF, there was no JPEG, PNG, etc. It was all about dhyana shloka. Once you understand the description, you can imagine, visualize the God. So here you meditate on Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, dressed in white robes. White robes, moon colored, four-armed, arms, ARMS, four-armed with a very cheerful face for the removal of all obstacles. Whose obstacles? Not Lord Vishnu's obstacles, our obstacles. That also need to be very clear, otherwise you'll be confused. So, for the removal of all the obstacles. That is what the meaning of this shloka is. I have to keep looking at the Google Meet time so that it doesn't abruptly end. It ends at 1 hour exactly. Sometimes I don't look at it and then I keep talking. The meeting ends and then recording starts. So I'll keep looking at the watch. So let's go to the second shloka. And I know this particular shloka may not be as popular with many people, but this is the one that we are going to follow. So the second shloka is Yasya Dvirada Vaktradyah Parishadyah Parashatam Dvirada Vaktradyaha will become Vaktradyah because the following letter is Parishadyaha. Parishadyaha. Parishadyaha followed by Paraha. So that also will become Parishadyah. If means PH, not F. PH. Paraha followed by Shatam will become Parash Shatam. So this is a thumb rule, 80-20 rule. If you don't know Sanskrit grammar and all, 99% you put, 80% of the time you put the half letter rule, you will be right. Otherwise, just remember what I taught and exactly repeat it without trying to get into too much of Sanskrit grammar. So, yasya dvirada vaktradya parishadya parashatam. Yasya dvirada vaktradya parishadya parashatam. Vignam nignanti satatam Vishwaksenam tamashraye. Vignam nignanti satatam Vishwaksenam tamashraye. Vignam nignanti satatam Vishwaksenam tamashraye. So here the ish is pushpa, soft sha. Vishwak. Don't chant it as Vishwak. There is a difference between Vishwak, which is wrong, and Vishwaksenam. So what is the meaning of this shloka? The elephant-faced one, along with innumerable attendants, would always remove the obstacles as we depend on the Vishwaksena. That is what Vishwaksenam Tamashraye. Hope I am not going too fast or too slow. The speed is good enough for you to take notes or even understand and contemplate. Once you get used to it, maybe I can accelerate it a little faster to cover more shlokas. The next one is something that we all know, very popular. Vyasam Vasishthanaptaram Shakte Pautramakalmasham. Vasishtha. Tha is hard. Naptaram. Shaktehe will become Shakteh. Pautramakalmasham. Sha again is soft. Vyasam Vasishthanaptaram Shakte Pautramakalmasham. Vyasam Vasishthanaptaram Shakte Pautramakalmasham. Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim. Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim. ஷராத்மஜம் ஷ வந்து ஷம்போஷ, நிதிம் திம் வந்து தனம் தானியமோடு த. The meaning of this shloka is, I salute Vyasa. Who is Vyasa? The great grandson of Vasishtha. Vyasam Vasishthanaptara. The grandson of Shakti. Shaktehe. Pautramakalmasham. The immaculate son of Parashara. Who is the father of Shukata, the treasure of austerities. I hope all of you know the meaning of austerity. இல்லைன்னா கொஞ்சம் டிக்ஷனரி எடுத்து வச்சுக்கோங்க, ஆக்ஸ்ஃபோர்ட். Pick up the meaning so that I don't digress too much. So that completes the next shloka. Vyasarupaya Vishnave. Vyasaya Vishnurupaya. Vyasarupaya Vishnave. Vyasaya Vishnurupaya. Vyasarupaya Vishnave. Again, if you pay attention to it, these are the places where I will explain where without your knowledge you will be committing mistakes. It is very difficult for people who are used to fast chanting of everything to put the correct matra for Ru. Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Rupaya. Invariably you will Rupaya abdin mudichiruvel. Like you will close it little short. Consciously you have to put that effort of two matras. Rupaya. Sometimes you will go over. It's okay. And then slowly you will correct it from your making mistakes unknowingly. Namo vai brahmanidhaye vasishthaya namo namaha. I have explained the differences in how people chant Brahma. You can chant it as Brahma, or Tata Pati taught you like Brahma, you are going to continue Brahma, that is fine. As long as you visualize the right person, right God, that is good. Namo vai brahmanidhaye vasishthaya namo namaha. Namo vai brahmanidhaye vasishthaya namo namaha. The meaning of this shloka is, O Vyasa, in the form of Vishnu, O Vishnu in the form of Vyasa. You are not differentiating between the two. O Vyasa in the form of Vishnu, and Vishnu, O Vishnu in the form of Vyasa. O Vasishtha, the treasure of the Brahman. Again, I don't want to digress. You can go to Mundaka Upanishad class that I've done for 1.5 years. Brahman has got nothing to do with caste system. Brahmana, Shudra, Kshatriya, adala illa. Brahman is not Brahma per se. What is Brahman? Understand the meaning of Brahman. I offer my obeisances into thee. I use that word very reluctantly because we are going to give credit to somebody that I don't think we need to give too much credit to. Shakespeare. But where vadi illa. One Tamilian talking to a Punjabi lady or a Telugu man and a Malayalam person. Unfortunately, we are blessed with this language that we have to live with. So, I offer my obeisances to thee again and again. It's not like once. And these are those subtle things that you must learn. I don't remember whether I said that in the first class. You say Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. You say it 3 times. You may be laughing at the court Gumasta. When you are called, they will not say Kumar. They'll repeat it 3 times. Kumar, Kumar, Kumar. This is there in our Shastram. First time we may not catch the attention of the person that we intend to. Second time, 50% probability. Third time, you can be rest assured that the person is actually paying attention to you. So whatever you mean, you are saying it 3 times to say, I didn't blurt it out by mistake. It was not a slip of the tongue. It was a well intended, well thought through utterance. That is why you have a habit of saying certain things 3 times. So same way, Nama Smaranam means you don't say, oh Lord Vishnu, I'm a devotee of you. Now that I praised you, give me all the benefits that I'm looking for. It doesn't work like that. You'll have to constantly do the Smaranam, which I've already elaborated in the beginning of this class, what benefits you're going to get by doing so. We always want to make sure benefits are all aligning with what my expectations are. Then I will chant, then I will worship you. Right? In a lighter vein, don't we decide which God we have to worship? Oh, pray to Ambal. Ambal doesn't remove your obstacles. Okay, somebody told me Hanuman Chalisa. You chant Hanuman Chalisa, do your Vratam for 40 weeks. He will solve your problem sooner, faster. Temporarily, we shift our loyalty to Hanuman until we get what we want and then we come back. It's human. You don't have to be feeling bad about it. It's human. Same way, until I tell you, call you by name. So let us say if somebody is not seen properly or somebody is not chanting properly, if I just say, please correct it, nobody will know. There are 15, 16 of you will not know. I have to say Deepa in particular. Then I catch your attention. Same thing works with God. The Dhyana Shlokam and the utterance of the name again and again is to make sure that you get the attention of the Lord or the goddess, and then you pray. Because when you pray, you praise, it has to be heard. That is the concept. Then I'll follow that. So you do the Namasmaranam again and again. Shloka number 5. Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane. Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane. Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane. Sadaika Rupa Rupaya Vishnave Sarvajishnave. Sadaika Rupa Rupaya Vishnave Sarvajishnave. Again, Ru, consciously note down. Whenever this letter comes, consciously put more effort to understand the matra is correct. So, what is the meaning of this shloka? The meaning is, bow I before Vishnu. I am bowing to Lord Vishnu, who is pure. Shuddhaya, pure. Who is not affected. Who is permanent. Most important, who is the ultimate truth. Vishwarupa Darshanam, when you see, for us today, when I was growing up, it was a Vedavyasa book that my parents used to read and teach me. Today it is Yashraj Mahabharat in TV, the serial, that becomes our ultimate source of truth. In a way, it is good. There are many things that Lord tells Arjuna. If you haven't heard that in detail, play it again and again or read that section again and again. He says, I am the ultimate truth. So that is what you are trying to understand or seek by chanting this Namasmaranam over and over again. He is the Lord who wins over all the mortals in this world. He is the supreme. We are all mortals. We have the cycle of birth and death. There is a definitive shelf life. which again, probably in the first class I said, though all the Ashirvadams are in duration of time, Shatamanam Bhavati Shatayu Purusha Shatendriya, it's all 100 years. God gives us the calculated number of breaths, swasam, in our Janma. After that, we are going to die. That is for sure. Now, whether you consume that breath in 1 year or you consume that over 100 years is your smartness and expertise. But we are all mortals. Let us go to the next shloka. And again, give me feedback. If a lot of this details and side information is distracting, you can see majority votes say that no, let's stick to the shloka. We can do that. But for those who are probably interested in learning more, I'm giving those tidbits. Yasya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhanat. Yasya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhanat. Yasya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhanat. Samsara, Anunasika. You don't say samsara. Vimuchyate namastasmai. Mai is dirgham. Allow that mai to complete. Vimuchyate namastasmai Vishnave Prabhavishnave. Vimuchyate namastasmai Vishnave Prabhavishnave. Again, if you see the way I'm chanting ya, I think I mentioned in the first class, Sanskrit is the only language that has described how to pronounce each of the akshara. For ya, this jaw has to go back, ya. You open your mouth a little wide and say ya. If you don't follow those rules, that ya will sound different. So when you have a conjugate consonant like vimuchyate, it is a very, very powerful tip. If you write it in capital letters in your notebook, if you take Sanskrit version of it, ich is the half syllable of cha. So the technique is to grab the half syllable with the previous syllable. Vimuch. It allows you to chant ya freely. Instead of chanting vimu chyate. It's difficult. Yeah, okay. So vimuchyate namastasmai Vishnave Prabhavishnave. So the meaning of it is obeisance to that Vishnu, the all-powerful Vishnu, whose remembrance alone frees one from the bondage of birth and death. So in this 1 hour itself, I would have talked about birth and death so many times. You sign off from this class, it will keep ringing in your ears at least for the rest of the day. You chant Vishnu Sahasranamam, think of Lord Vishnu. It will free you up from that constant thinking of birth and death. Live your life for the present moment. Live your life in the present. The future is anyway going to come. Face it when you face it. It doesn't mean you be clueless. Be prepared. Do what you need to do. That will prepare yourself. So on that positive note, I will pause this particular class. I hope it was useful and see you in the next class. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.